Welcome to the PropLinq AI podcast, where we dig into stories from real estate, prop tech, and AI innovators. I'm going to start that one again. Welcome to the PropLinq AI podcast, where we dig into real stories from real estate, prop tech, and AI innovators. I'm Stuart Quintal, the founder of PropLinq, and today I'm thrilled to welcome Michele Silverman Beddel, founder and principal at a boutique real estate firm in Scarsdale, Westchester County, New York. Michele has been in the trenches of real estate through cycles, from boom times, recessions, technology shifts, and most recently the AI era. Her background in psychology, combined with decades of working closely with clients, gives a unique lens on how people make big property decisions. Michele, thanks for joining me today. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
Great.
So
I'm doing great as well.
how are you doing? Good?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's
Good.
always good to speak to a new person for a podcast. So um, now let's start at the beginning. So what sort of drew you into real estate? And I'd sort of like to ask, how did your psychology background help shape your approach?
Yeah, I started in real estate. I've been licensed many, many years, over 30 years. And I was working in psychology with children who were handicapped or had learning disabilities or other neurological issues. And I was really looking for a change. I always liked business, and I use my psychology a lot, obviously, with my clients. And I was looking to get into real estate. I worked in with people who were realtors, and we were looking for our own place, and it really interested me. So I became licensed, and I was, just being very supportive and working with people. You needed a lot of patience when you work with the handicap, and obviously this transfers when you work with people in real estate. You have to be very supportive. You have to have a lot of patience. You can't rush them. You can't push them, and you have to be very understanding. So these, I guess, skill set really helped me transitioning to real estate, and it continues today. When you work
Yeah,
with people, you have to be very patient.
yeah, it's a very emotional journey. The home buying and home selling and even home moving. That's a big emotional journey for
It
a lot of
is.
people. So
It's
yeah,
also a big asset. You don't want to make many mistakes. You can't return it easily. I tell my clients you can't return it like returning a dress, or a suit. So you have to really be very careful when you make your decision. And so I do a lot of preparation for the client to prepare them for that decision.
yeah. Now, speaking of decisions, like over the years, you've weathered sort of many market cycles, boom, recession, GFCs,
Right.
that sort of thing. So, and obviously COVID, what's been the biggest shift in your business since you started in terms of how you think about clients or competition or even opportunity?
Well, okay, so I have worked in every cycle. You started to speak about economical cycles. I started when all the banks, the savings and loans went bankrupt, and you could not sell anything. And, where you would have huge subdivisions just sitting idle, and nothing was selling. And then things improved, obviously. It's kind of very cyclical. And then the most recent recession was in 2008, after a very good period in '04 and '05 in the States. And things, the marketing had to change, right? You have to change to reflect the market conditions and the real estate conditions. So you had a lot of for foreclosures, you had a lot of short sales, you had a lot of mortgage companies go under. There was a big change in the appraisal industry, where banks would outsource the appraisals. You just could not choose your own appraiser,
Mm-hmm.
so the price would come in right on point. You really had to be very careful. Then the market started to get better and was really improving. And then COVID hit, right? And COVID was a period of several years where we really had to practice very differently, where we weren't able to show properties, enter properties, attend inspections, attend closings. It was very difficult in the way we did business, but somehow we managed to get through it. And fast forward, the market is continues to be very strong today, with some
Mm-hmm.
shifts in the market. But and I can't say across the board. In the States, it really depends where you live and where you practice. But in the New York area, or at least in the Westchester area, I will say the market continues to be a strong seller's market with very low inventory. I will say the interest rates are coming down slowly, but
Mhm.
definitely they're not where they were at 2-3% during COVID.
Yeah,
So this may take some buyers out of the market, but yet because the inventory is low, the prices stay high.
yeah.
You have to
Now,
shift.
yeah, you're mentioning the market there where there's low inventory, and I guess in the States there's going to be many different markets where there's more inventory,
Right.
potentially probably no buyers, or you've got a good combination of buyers and sellers. But from where you sit, what's working right now, and what are the types of deals or clients that are still moving?
Well, I will say in the last few months, from the last month, let's say August, September, or September, October, I've gotten a lot more, I see a lot more buyers in the market. And I think they're just starting to look. So you have like a whole new pool of people who probably stayed out of the market because they were concerned about the interest rates and they're concerned about the lack of inventory and the amount of bidding that was going on per property. So about a year ago, I will say the bidding, for instance, let's say you put a property on the market, you'd have maybe 15 offers, maybe more. But now the amount of offers will shift down to 5 or 6, depending on the property. So I think the market, the buyer today, although they're coming back in the market, they're a bit more cautious in the way they're bidding and the way they're offering on the property. They're not as they're not so quick to jump and give put so much money against that property in terms of their offer. You would see offers 200,000, 300,000 above the ask, and now they're bidding above in a multiple bidding situation, but they're more cautious in the way they are
Mhm.
bidding, and they're cautious in terms of the spending the money.
Yeah.
But I will say, though, because a lot of people are sitting on cash, especially in the New York area, a lot of offers are not all, but and that too is changing. You'll see a lot of all cash offers.
Okay. I was just going to ask, like, from a customer profile these days, do you see like where are you mainly leaning towards? Like, do you work across the board, or do you lean more towards, say, people that are upsizing or downsizers or investors or the foreign investors?
I'm working with everyone. I
Yep.
can't even say it's one person at this point. I have people, client who came in from Kuwait who just is in contract on a piece of land because he couldn't find a house he liked, right?
Hmm.
So he wants something fresh and new and modern. And
Yep.
then I have another client who is coming from the South or the Mid-Atlantic states because he's taking a job opportunity at a hospital in the New York area. I have first-time home buyers, just really across the board. I have people downsizing, but most of my clients, just coincidentally now, are first-time buyers
Hmm.
coming from Manhattan or Queens or Brooklyn who've been renting and they're ready to buy.
Okay. Now, speaking of your firm, then, like you mentioned that you have about 18 agents. Sort of why, if people are in a similar business or wanting to start a business or brokerage, like why that size, and how do you manage oversight, quality, and also consistency within your team?
Try to clarify
Okay.
in your question.
Yep.
I mean, why
I'll,
the agents work
I'll,
for me and not for a larger firm, or
sorry, I'll ask the question again. So,
go ahead.
um, yep, you mentioned you run a boutique firm with about 18 agents.
Correct.
Why, you know, when running a firm, like why is 18 for you a good size, or why is that the
Oh,
size of the number of agents you have, and how do you manage that team?
it's interesting. I have agents who speak, but they're multilingual, and I'm
Mhm.
actually looking for more because we have a lot of people coming in from different countries in Westchester. But I think for me, it's very important for me to stay in control, and I'm not looking to have another office, or I'm not looking to have a lot, a big company. I won't mention other companies, other competitors, but some of them have multi offices. I'm really not looking, because when I look at for the most part, I want control. I'm responsible for the people's licenses who work for
Hmm.
me. I like to know what's going on in my office, should there be a problem. And I often see mistake after mistake made by agents who don't do enough due diligence. I see it in the offers that they give us when they're coming from big agency, or maybe the advertising. There's so many issues with advertising. We have a lot of regulations, and we have to adhere to them. And often, um, other brokerages where there are so many different agents and so many different offices under one umbrella, there are many mistakes, and I just cannot afford that to happen. I like what I do, and I want to keep my license. So for me, it's very important to run a tight ship
Hmm.
and have fun at the same time, but do a lot of due diligence. I think also what sets us apart is that we do, whether we're representing the buyer or the seller, we do all our own due diligence on with each property. So we check
Hmm.
with the assessor, the taxes, environmental issues, open permits, closed permits, any violations, liens. We really make surveys, easements. I can go on, but we really
Hmm.
try very hard to do our due diligence so we have no surprises, within 2 or 3 weeks of a closing.
Yep. Now, that sort of probably leads into, I guess, a next sort of topic, I guess, systems and technology. So running all that due diligence. So, yeah, do you use any tools, specific tools or technologies to help with that due diligence, or is it all just going into different websites and calling up different services
It,
to,
it
to I guess, yeah.
It really depends the community we're looking in. Some
Hmm.
communities are great, such as New Rochelle. Most of the information is online, although I do verify taxes and assessments and permits. I will go down to the assessor, the building department. I also check for surveys, because often this is not all online. Other
Hmm.
communities, I have to do, a search. I have to send in a request. They'll email it to me. Each one is very different. Some
Yep.
communities I have to visit with the building department because nothing's online. So you really have to know the community you're working in, and there are time restrictions, and some things take longer than others to get. But we are very careful in the way we do our due diligence, because it's
Yep.
very important to us.
Of course. Now, over the years of your business, I guess, how have you adopted technology? What's been good from a technology perspective, and what's also been frustrating?
Okay. I think the biggest change, I mean, just overall, when I started in the industry, there was no internet, right? So everything was, I would receive a book of new listings. By the time that
Yep.
book was published, it was old. So, moving forward, we had the internet, all our listings are online, which is very good. And every few years, our multiple listing service upgrades, and the way we show properties changes. We have lock boxes, digital, Bluetooth lock boxes, or just the old fashioned lock boxes, numerical, on each of our properties, which makes it very easy to show our properties. Also, today, the biggest change, besides Google and doing our searches and the internet, all of our listings, not only online, but our marketing is all digital, right?
Hmm.
So, in addition, we send everything out. Um, digitally, we use Instagram, Facebook. We have two Instagram accounts: Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn. And then we do a huge mailing on an email, such as Constant Contact. We no longer use them, but something like it,
Yep.
where we send out all our information that you could click on, and it links back to our website. So using our social media is very important to us. In addition, now with AI, that's put us in another league. We do all of our letters, our property descriptions, etc., as well as just general questions about properties using AI,
Yep.
ChatGPT, or other AI functions.
Out of all the tools and technologies that you do use, which ones deliver the best or the most ROI in terms of either time saved or money earned?
We really have it down. I have two great admins.
Mm-hmm.
One is really very technological. Both are technological and very creative. And we post every day, whether we post a listing, whether we post information about what's doing in the community. I would say our Instagram, probably we can track it, and it probably gives us the most feedback. And we do Instagram Live. I speak on different topics. I also teach. So I think the Instagram is the one that gives us our best bang for our buck.
Yep, that's great.
Although we do things on YouTube as well.
Yep. Where do you see the biggest opportunities for AI or automation over the next 12 to 24 months in your real estate operations?
Well, we also use it. I probably don't even know enough about it to say, but
Mm-hmm.
because it's kind of like open ended. I remember when we started using the internet and Google, it's like it's open ended. You can ask anything. Um, we also do uh, virtual staging. We do a lot with whether the property be vacant or even with old furniture and kind of want to modernize it. So we're using a lot with that. And I also, we could use it with new construction. If somebody
Yep.
wants to see what a design could be, we could put in, show us what a modern or a transitional home would be, or a very contemporary home, and they'll, format a design for us. So I think that will be very good in moving forward if you're working on new construction,
Mm-hmm.
um, or if somebody's designing a house and wants to see a renovation, what it will look like.
Yep.
So I think it's endless. I mean, I can't even
Yeah.
imagine what could be done.
Yep.
Right? We ask
I'm
we ask all sorts of questions.
Yeah, you mentioned staging. Have you you mentioned changing the furniture, to put more modern furniture in staging. Have you ever had feedback from potential buyers or tenants that have gone to the property and seen that the furniture is old, or
Well,
they didn't realize that it was AI staged, or
Well, not real. I'll tell you why. In our listings, you have to
Mhm.
be honest in how you position, how you
Yep,
advertise and promote your listings. So when we have a house, whether it be vacant or with old furniture, right, antique furniture,
yep,
we'll do the staged picture and we'll say virtually staged. And
hmm
then we'll say right next to it, have the vacant, the empty room,
yep.
or the room that has furniture from
The
50
original
years
furniture,
ago.
yeah,
So as long as we're advertising it legally and honestly, um, then it's okay. So people usually, as long as we put that in there, and if people are paying attention, they'll realize it. And most people today, after looking at so many listings, you could tell what's been staged. Also, it's not even virtually staged. We often have staged. We've hired
okay.
stagers to stage properties when they walk in, but we take those pictures as well.
Yep. Now, looking ahead, how do you think the real estate industry is going to evolve, especially for boutique real estate or the local brokerages?
Yeah, I think there's always a place, as opposed to working for a big conglomerate
Hmm.
or being taken over as a. I'm not big on franchises. I don't like them. I've been approached over the years, and I've
Hmm.
always turned it down. I think you have to spend a lot of marketing material, use their marketing people, and I think it becomes, at the end of the game, a very expensive proposition. I think real estate also is a very local business, and you have to live and work in the area. You have to live in the area you work,
Hmm.
and set your own network up. And I think there'll always be um, an area or a place in the marketplace for a boutique firm.
Yep.
I feel strongly, because I think when you're working with these big companies, you're very limited in many cases to what they tell you could do or not do. And you're working under their umbrella, which I think there are pluses and minuses, but I still think you have an opportunity to be more creative when you're working in a boutique firm.
Of course, of course. What if you had a magic wand and you could fix, a process or something that you think is either broken or could be done better, say in your business or operations? What would that be if you could just click the fingers and magically the problem solved?
I think probably always in marketing, we're always looking for new technology and new creative ways to market properties. Um, I think digitally that's the way it could be, but I think we're always looking for new avenues and new creative ways to do it. And not even on the website, we do that every 2, 3 years. We'll recreate the website, but I think we're always looking for new tools and new social media marketing avenues kind of to work in.
Yep.
And that to me is where it's at, because people is on they're on their phones, they're on their iPads, they're on their computers constantly.
Yeah, constantly. I
Constantly.
know everyone, like we are right now. Look,
Right.
Michele, yeah. Look, this has been a great conversation, and I really appreciate you sharing
My
these
pleasure.
insights
Thank you.
with me and also with the audience. How can people get in touch with you?
Okay, they could reach me on WhatsApp since you're abroad. On WhatsApp, my number is 914-906-4376. Silversons Realty, silversons.com, or my email at msilvermanbeddel@gmail.com. One word.
Great. Thank you so much for being on the show,
My
Michele.
pleasure.
And for the listeners who want to learn more about Michele or her firm, I'll pop all those details in the show notes. And if you've enjoyed this episode, please follow us on Spotify or YouTube podcasts.
Thanks so much. Have a great day. Be
No
well.
worries.
Stay cool.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.